Should be golden now. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Getting my little notes ready. First note to write to myself today is to fix the thumbnail on YouTube. I'm also welcoming any feedback about my screen, like all the stuff that I've got going on the screen. I added a picture of Ralph, but I don't know if like that's the right place for it. So if anyone, I should know this. I'm an artist. I should be able to like figure it out, but it's so hard. I'm like not a graphic designer. It's hard to figure out like what to put where and what's too much and what do people actually want to see. So yeah, I don't know. If you have any suggestions, I'm open to them. Fix thumbnail. We're going to read through July today, and we might actually get through the whole thing because, hey, Velvet, I've been trying to keep up with the replays. Yeah, they're like really long, so I don't blame you if you don't want to watch through all of them. Oh, awesome. Put it in your calendar. Hello. Yeah, usually I come on every Thursday. Next Thursday I'm not going to be on, though. So just so everybody knows ahead of time, that one I'm not doing. So I'll skip a week. What I was saying is we're going to read through July, and we might actually get through it because Ralph only writes for like the first 9 days of July and then doesn't write, and I think he like doesn't write through August either. So we've got like some quality time with just Georgia for a while. He does write in the beginning of July. I'm not sure like if he goes on a trip or what the reasoning is, because he does pick back up again. But hopefully as we read, we will like figure that out, right? Oh, is that midnight 00.00? Oh my god. Anyone else full screen live? Last week someone else had trouble full screening it too. And I don't know, like some people could do it and some people couldn't, so I don't know if TikTok updated. I say it all the time, but like every time I come on here, this whole like the computer version of TikTok streaming updates and changes everything. But actually this week it did update, but I don't see anything too different. But I did switch around like where everything is. So if anything's cut off, let me know. I want a place for my Patreons, so I put them in there. I think that's important. I don't know if the top part where I'm saying like what we're doing, we're reading 2 diaries from 1903. Like we haven't had like tons of new people coming in asking what we're up to, but I don't know if that's helpful. I guess if anyone has come in before and like you appreciated having that, let me know. Or I mean, when people like ask in the chat, I'll usually just answer them and say what we're doing. So I don't really know if that's beneficial or if it's just like too many words. I'm in England and I can still full screen it. There's a small button at the bottom right. Is the button hard to see because of the color of my background or something, maybe? Because if that's the case, I can change the color of the background, I think. It's all those things. I can't like see it from your end. So anything I can do to make it a little easier. And am I like too big? Am I big enough, my picture? Because I made it a little bigger. It's visible. Okay. So it might just be like some people have it and some people don't. TikTok is weird about updating. I don't have the button anymore. Yeah, maybe it needs to be updated, or maybe an update was buggy and got rid of it. Full screen button has been gone for a few weeks now. How weird is that? Like, why? Something that worked so, like, it did its function. I don't know why they would ever get rid of that, but if you want to go onto YouTube, I think you can full screen it there. And I always try to keep the YouTube chats, like that chat box, bumped out, but I forget sometimes, so let me like pop it out. I feel bad because not much goes on over there, so I forget to be checking that chat too, and every time I open and close a window, it goes away. I gotta figure out a better setup, but I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm surprised I do this much. You should see my desktop. It was missing for a few weeks, now it's back. So weird. Yeah, that is bizarre. I'll tell you, like, on the computer, they change something all the time, and it doesn't make sense. Like, certain things they'll get rid of or add in that I'm like, why? It was fine before. Okay. Well, I'll open up July 1st for both of them because he does write for the first like 9 or so days. Oh, that's January. He's got his nice juicy pen. Last time we read, was it last time or the time before he graduated? I can't remember. But it was recently. He graduated college from Cornell College. I can show you what. I have a couple of old pictures of Cornell College. It's not Cornell College in New York. It's Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa. Pictures are down here somewhere. Well, here's the town of Mount Vernon, Iowa, where he went to college. And this is one of his classes. He's probably in this picture. One of the surveying classes, or in the engineering room, I think. This is a picture of campus, and then these are all pictures of campus too. This is that's not the chapel on campus, actually. That's in Mount Vernon. But there is a chapel that he talks about going to a lot on the campus. So that would be this building, I think. So yeah, some cool old pictures of Cornell College. Now he's on to bigger and better things. We'll see what he does with his life. We know he's going to marry Georgia in December, so maybe they'll start talking about wedding plans now that he's out of school. All right, so Georgia, who unfortunately we don't have a picture of, hopefully someday. I wish I could include her up with Ralph in my little preview, but we don't have her. TikTok needed updating, but still no full screen button. Ugh, maybe it'll come back with the next update. So Georgia on July 1st, done dishes and ironed. That stinks because I feel like my stream really needs to be sideways. And I used to be able to design on my TikTok, like streaming, whatever it's called, TikTok Studio. I used to be able to design a portrait and a landscape view. Like I used to be able to arrange things so that if someone wanted to watch it vertically, they could, and everything was in a certain place. And then if they wanted to go full screen, everything would be in a different place, and it would make sense either way. But now that's not an option, I don't think. I have to choose one or the other. And if I have to choose, I'm going to choose the sideways version because I can fit more that way. Anyone here from the good old days when I had my camera set up in front of me, my phone, and I had the diary in front of the phone and then the computer screen? That was crazy setup. So at least we're not doing that anymore. That was a crazy, I was like, yeah, I think it was. It was the first Weatherman Diary. It was the first streams I ever did. And it was like I couldn't move the wrong way. If I moved the wrong way, the whole thing would collapse or it would be out of focus, and it was craziness. I should go back and watch some of those because I do have them recorded. All right, done dishes and ironed some. R and I, so it's Ralph, went to Chautauqua or Chautauqua. I don't know how it's pronounced. Hey, Rachel, you and Ian didn't have your house yet. No, we didn't. Yeah, we've been here for a year now, and I think I started streaming like a year before that. So it was it's been a long time. It doesn't feel like that long. An evening to see Rosanny, the juggler. Okay, so I'm going to read his July 1st, then we can look up the article, because there's definitely an article. This Chautauqua or Chautauqua is a series of lectures and performances, and kind of it spans many different genres, I guess. There's music, and there's people who go and share about their travels, and they're learning about different places and cultures. So it kind of is a mixed bag, but they always have their performances and stuff in the newspaper so far. So we actually found some pictures. Did I save them yet? I didn't go back and add pictures here yet. But we did find pictures of the performers in the last one. No, I didn't put them in here. I gotta find them again because I just X'd out all the tabs. Literary festivals, yes. Is that actually what they were? Josephus the historian, I trust you. So is that actually what they were based on. I mean, there was last time. Okay, cool. And they were all throughout the US, right? Or were they even more widespread than that? Rosanny. Oh, cool. You have me full screen sideways. You're one of the lucky ones. Rosanny the Juggler. July 1903. Waterloo, which I bet there were a lot of cities like this. Oh, they were in the Midwest for sure. Waterloo, where she is, had its own park area that was like just designated for this. And am I saying it right then? Is it 1, Chautauqua, or 2, Chautauqua? Or 3, none of those? Let me know. Okay, so nothing in July 1903 for Rosanny the Juggler. I forgot to take that. Okay, it's Chautauqua. Okay, cool. I thought maybe, but I should have probably looked up the pronunciation. Okay, Chautauqua. I'll try to remember that. I'm gonna look at maybe it's under June. Here. Wednesday evening, Rosanny the Juggler. Okay, so there's just a mention. The last one, there was actually pictures of the people. It was really cool. Oh, my stream is so addictive you forget. Well, maybe you can tie those two things in your brain, like medication, Addie's stream, and then you'll remember. Hey, Audra. Good to see you too. Okay. So I'm going to read through Ralph's July 1st, and I guess we'll look one more time. Maybe it's out of Waterloo that they mentioned it, but clear. Got up at 6:30. Went to City Hall and something in city work. Anyone want to take a whack at that word? Rosa, the one-man juggling show? Is that a thing? Oh, maybe I should just look up Rosanny. Maybe it was tripping up because I had the juggler. Oh, here's one. I guess just not as popular. Disinfectant, is that what it says? Okay, so he is an engineer. What are you doing? Got up at 6:30, went to City Hall, and something out in city work, drove out. City work till 11, came home and sent. Ralph loves to write in good old Dr. Scribbles. I know. And went out in city work till 11. Yeah, he also doesn't really punctuate, or he does randomly, so it can be really hard to tell, like, what's the end of a sentence, what's supposed to be together. And drove out in city work. Or went out. I think it's went out, you're right. I think maybe he started writing something and then wrote over. That tends to be a habit of his in city. Work till 11. Came home and sent $55 for insurance. I think it's 55, not 155, because he does usually do 2 lines on his $sign. Joseph Stadmuller? I don't know what that is. Let's be glad he's writing in pen now, yeah. Yeah, except at least in pen he has an excuse to just write over another word. But with pencil, he could have erased it. But it's true, pencil is harder to read for him because he writes lightly sometimes, and it's like, it shines. In PM, set grades. His handwriting is different when he writes in pen. On something street. I have no clue. He's in Waterloo, so we could look it up if we know what that first letter is. I'm like terrible with capital cursive. Is it a J? During Street? Irving? Ooh, it might be Irving. Penny always gets it right, so I'm gonna go with Penny's suggestion. Irving Street. And we could look it up in a sec if it's a Waterloo Street. And believe it or not, so no one paid $150 for insurance back then. I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the diary he sent like a hefty sum to the insurance company. You think it's Irving too? Okay, cool. In evening, went to Chautauqua. So in the Midwest, is Chautauqua still a thing? And Josephus, the historian, were you here? Are you new, or were you here a couple of lives ago? We were talking. They've been going to like all the different Chautauqua presentations. I'll never feel like not silly saying it like that, but that is the way to pronounce it. They did, I think it was the last one. They had a presentation of the Edison like moving picture. Not sure, but it was big in the 1920s. Yeah, so it continued on. That's really cool. Where was it? Oh, these are the people who we found pictures of. I could look them up and show you guys. Because that was cool. They were all like costumed up. No. Here she is. This is Flora McDonald. She did a presentation. And Gavin Spence was also there. Major philanthropists funded them. Nice. That's one good thing they can do. It's wonderful. Yeah, and they were free, I think. Maybe not, but I think they were. There was one... I wonder where it was. Here. The Edison Moving Picture Co. She didn't really say much else about it, but it was pretty cool. They used a stereopticon, I think they said. When he went to the place and fell asleep. Yes, he fell asleep at one of them, Georgia said. Or he did. Georgia didn't say he fell asleep, but he admitted it. He had a long day. Okay. The second for Georgia. She does write a lot in July, so that's good. At least if he's not gonna, we get some juice from her. Got up at 6:40. Swept and dusted some. Took the boys to work and went to train to meet Charlotte Deisher. That is, she's related to her. She is, I don't know, but she's related to her on her mom's side, I think. Down in LaPorte City. I remember that name popping up on the old maps. I'll look at that in a second. Who came up to see Grandma. Went in PM to Chautauqua. I'm getting way better at typing that word. A bit late today. No, you haven't missed anything exciting. We just started. I just read through one day so far. I was saying that Ralph doesn't write much in July. He stops at like July 9th and doesn't write for the rest of the month. But Georgia gives us some pretty big entries, it looks like. I just took the pictures like 5 minutes ago. And something in William Curtis. Heard. but did not like him. Ooh, an opinion. We don't get those very often, except about the weather. He read his speech, etc. Nothing too exciting. Papa and Mama went in evening, and we kept house. They rent out part of their house to a bunch of people who are boarders, so she helps with the housekeeping. When they came home, we went downtown and got a soda. I wish I could get a picture of her mom too. We have a picture of her dad. Of course, it's so much easier to find pictures of men back then. Here's her dad. This is a picture of him closer to the diary time, actually. He was the city engineer in Waterloo. And this is him. That actually looks like it might be around the same time. I don't know when that one was taken. Okay, July 2nd. So this will be for Ralph. Clear. Got up at 6:30. Went to office. Then Georgia drove us over to Westfield. Ate dinner and commenced survey for Sherwood, Georgia, and I kept house in evening. When we finished our meeting last night, I forgot it's Thursday today, and another diary fix. I know, it's kind of nice 2 days in a row. It felt weird today all day, like I had to remind myself I have to get home so I can get on the live, because it feels like that was the weekly event. But our my Patreon subscribers get like an extra monthly. We get together on Google Meet and we go through some diaries together, so that's what Nikki's talking about. Yeah, and last night we actually read through, we're reading this diary, which I conveniently have right here because I was looking at it yesterday. And it's a 5-year diary, but it spans many more years than that. It's actually very confusing because the woman who wrote in it, Bessie, just kind of like wrote whenever she felt like it, sporadically, from like 1912 to 1930. Yes, Maria actually donated this to us, so we've been kind of like putting together the pieces and trying to put it into chronological order. We're actually through June now, right? Did we finish June or July? I think we finished July yesterday. And we read the entry where they get married. So actually, Maria, since you donated this diary, I'm going to read this entry to you. Hold on. Is this the entry? It's not July 4th. Maybe it's June 4th. May? No, June. Yeah, okay. So this is 1917, Monday, June 4th. Monroe and I were married today at 8:30. We were joking, like, that's so early to get married. By Reverend John Fort, only a few being present. Then we went to his home, meaning her husband, Monroe, and stayed until Sunday afternoon. So not much information, but, oh, thanks for the follow. I don't know what your username is, but it looks like a little string. It's cute. We could open up, is it in here? Her last name is Phoebus, so we call it the Phoebus Diary. Let me show the picture of the article that we found. Hold on. The one of their marriage. That gives actually more information than she did in her own diary. Okay, this is, hold on. Copy. Paste. Okay, this is the article about their wedding. So it goes into detail. I have to, hold on. It won't let me show the whole thing, but you get the idea. It goes into detail about what she was wearing And it does also say that there weren't that many people there. It was like a small ceremony, but it's cute. It was cool to read through that entry of the diary. It's just so surreal sometimes, reading those big events in people's lives. Like when we finally get to Ralph and Georgia's wedding, that's going to be exciting. Or even like the lead up to it. And just reading that and knowing that was such a big event in their life and like finding it in the newspapers, it's just, there's something about it. It's hard to describe, but it feels really satisfying. All right, so July 3rd. Got up at 6:40. Oh, I didn't have to put Friday. I don't usually put the day of the week anymore. Helped with breakfast dishes. Swept and dusted my room. Helped with dinner and dishes. Rain came up late in PM and kept up all evening. Stayed at home. Went to bed at 10:30. And yes, that's how she spells stayed. So we keep it. Okay, Ralph, July 3rd. Wow, what a mess. He's like, this new pen doesn't work that well, but it's new and it was a gift, so I'm gonna just keep powering through. Look at that, rainy. Just a guess. Got up at 6:30. Luckily, we know his pattern, like how he writes his entries, because that helps. Went over to survey Sherwood property. Took a walk over to dinner. I have no idea. Or diner. Rain came up at 5. And we went home in evening, talked till 10. It's interesting that they both said rain came up. For a second, I thought I was reading the wrong entry because she just said the same phrase. And I can't remember them ever saying it like that before. Maybe I'm wrong, but this stood out. Maybe it only stood out to me because they repeated and I thought I was like rereading an entry. Okay, July 4th. Got up at 7. Went downtown. Helped with work. Ralph and I took our supper and went to Midland Park. I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, maybe they talked about it to each other and like unknowingly both repeated it in their diary. How cute. Got home at 9:40 and then fired off some firecrackers. Oh. Firecrackers in 1903. Went to bed at 11. Probably very unsafe. 4th of July for Ralph. Oh, half pencil, half pen. Rain in AM. Went to office at 10. Thanks for all the likes. I see them coming in. Little hearts. So cute. Went to office at 10 after going downtown with Georgia and after the mail. After dinner, went to office till 4. Went home, or went to home. House, went to house. And Georgia and I went to park for supper. Got back at 9 and ate ice cream. She didn't mention ice cream. And shot firecrackers till 11. Took bath before breakfast. Oh, he's adding that in. Before breakfast, he took a bath. Do you sometimes wish the entries would be more personal, like feelings and thoughts? Sometimes it can get a little, like, dry. But I think just the fact that they both write and they talk about the things they did together, that kind of like suffices, I guess, for me. The diary that we read of Ralph's, though, the 1901 diary, at times was like boring because he just told us what part of the railroad he worked on, for how long, and who he worked with, and he gave us very specific coordinates and numbers, and it was just like, ugh. So sometimes I wish there was a little bit more juice, but he did give us a few really good entries in that diary that were very well worth the work, or worth the wait, I guess. He's an interesting lad. Got up at 8:30, helped with work. R and I drove to CR Park. That would be Cedar Rapids Park. Yeah, I know. The amount of times I was just typing a bunch of strings of numbers, and then eventually I just gave up because I'm like, what am I doing this for? I know there's some like merit to being completely like typing exactly what you see. I get that, but at the same time, like, these numbers are never going to mean anything to me, so it was like ridiculous strings of numbers. It was a work diary, yeah. And then he met Georgia and everything changed. We get to look forward to, though, the 1904 diary, which is next after this one. I think it's 1904 and 1907. They're both, I think, Ralph's. So we'll have to see what he's writing about then. Drove to CR Park and got some things. Wonder what things. Helped with dinner and dishes. Stayed in all PM and visited. After supper, took a walk, and then we went to church. Grace Methodist. ME. Went to bed at 10:30. I recently had my first diary that my mouth flew open. I couldn't believe what was written. Oh my god, yeah, spilled the tea. That happened to me reading some old World War II letters back and forth from a man in the Navy and his wife. And I was like, oh my god, I can't even read this. It feels like I'm violating privacy, which obviously, like, we kind of are, but it's so far back, and it is history, but oh, I'm skimming this. Do you guys remember last time there was WP, did he write WPI? Or did he write Worcester? Oh, Worcester Poly Incorporated. Worcester Polytechnic Institution. That is in Massachusetts, unless there's another one. Accepting a position. Okay, hold on. Let's read through the entry, not get too ahead of ourselves, and then I'll look it up, because Worcester Polytechnic Institution is not that far from where I grew up. Clear. Got up at 8. Shaved, but I think he ends up working in Chicago. And Georgia and I hitched up after breakfast and went to park after camp. Oh, after camp outfit? I don't know if he means an outfit to wear. Before going, wrote letter accepting position as instructor in Worcester Polytechnic Institution at $1,000 per year, and mailed it after dinner. Talked with Georgia till supper time. After supper, took a little walk and went to church. Talked till 10:30 and went to bed. That's okay. Have you missed any wedding talk? Not of Ralph and Georgia. on the Patreon meeting yesterday, we got to read in the 5-year diary the wedding of Monroe and Bessie. So I actually forgot to send a picture of that, but I'm going to do it in the Diary Detectives Discord. So I'll send that later. But it's also in the shared folder if you want to go in there and see it. But yeah, hi Carly. It was cool to read it. It wasn't like too detailed, but it was still cool to read through when they got married. But no wedding talk of Ralph and Georgia yet. Again. Found my great-grandparents' letters back and forth from Vietnam. The parts that I can read are fun. That's really cool. That's a family treasure. No, you didn't miss Ralph and Georgia's. They are going to be married in December, so we're only in July. But I think July is going to read a little quicker because Ralph stops writing in July at like July 9th and doesn't write for a while. And it's just her writing throughout most of July, so it'll be like the old times when we were reading just one person's diary. Got up at 6:40. Helped with work. Carnival people arrived and began another carnival, another circus to get things fixed up. They show right on beside us and front. We have 4 staying with us. Helped all the time with work. Helped with washing. Yeah, Ralph's last name is Slippy. And I get my diaries in all different places. These in particular were donated to us. There's a set of 6 of them by both Ralph and Georgia. And they were donated by somebody who was following another story that I was working on. But I've gotten them from eBay. Yeah, thank you. Velvet, all different places. Helped with washing in PM. Sat on porch till late and watched the people. So I guess by in front she meant like they were setting up like maybe on the street in front of her. She was on kind of a main street in Waterloo. Went to bed at 11. Warm day. After I read his... Oh, never mind, because he didn't write on the 6th. I guess it's not the 9th that he stops, it's the 6th. I can look in the newspaper for... Oh, I need to save Flora McDonald. Carnival opening. Maybe it'll mention the street. Is this the people that lived in Iowa? Yeah, actually, the diaries that we read before this one were also in Iowa. They were in Fairfax, Iowa, which is like a really small town near Cedar Rapids. But these 2 people also live in Iowa, just in Waterloo. It's like a bigger city. Carnival opening. Merchants Carnival. 15 complete shows. Mulberry Street. Yeah, that's the street she lived on. That's cool. And her house I mentioned earlier, and it pretty much comes up every time. They rent out like rooms in their house, so they had some people staying with them, she said. That must have been in their extra rooms. That's cool. Well, I'm going to save this. That's a long article. Remember last time I said, like, anytime you're on an old newspaper, you don't have to look far and there's something, like, crazy. His death sudden. Craziness. And then some of these ads are hilarious if you look through them. Like, it'll be some kind of random pill that just cures everything. It's a little scary. But here, we treat to cure. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to have to get used to this. There's no Ralph. That article must have been written by Ralph with how long it is. Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Alex. Yeah, so now we're going to have to get used to skipping Ralph because he doesn't have anything for the rest of July. So I feel like just... I don't want to just delete this column because he's going to come back. Will it bother you guys if I'm just writing in one skinny column, or is that okay? It's probably going to bother me, like, formatting-wise, but I feel like it's easier just to keep going in the same way. Okay. July 7th. Yeah, and also, because I was asking for some opinions on, like, the setup of just the screen, all the stuff that I have showing. Do you guys feel like my typing, like, this area is even necessary, like, to be this big, or should I make it smaller and make the pages take up more space? I do try to zoom in, but I can fiddle around with it and stuff. Either medicine was great back then, or they may have been making some false claims. Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Some things worked, some things didn't. Okay, I'll keep it. I just feel like there's too many words at the top and the bottom now, but pages bigger. I did make this a little smaller already, but I don't know how much bigger they can get. Like, this gets smaller, and then this can't get much bigger without it going off. But I could fiddle around with it maybe, like, after I'm not on here. You guys should look up the podcast Sawbones. Okay, I'm looking that up because I am actually in the market for another podcast, a new podcast. So, Sawbones. Very entertaining. That's what I need on my drive to work. I might be biased because TikTok is forcing me to watch Vertical. I know, I'm sorry. That's so annoying. No rhyme or reason. One day it works, one day it doesn't. Got up at 6:45, helped with work all day, took the boys out to work, and then went up to the store after flour. Went downtown. Went in the market and saw Myrtle a while. I found a picture of Myrtle. Finally, but did I put her in here or did I put her in the other place? Here she is. I found out who she was because one time she said, or a couple of times I think, she said Myrtle and Chet. And then one time Ralph wrote Myrtle Rush, like the whole name. So at the time where she's hanging out with Georgia, she's not married to Chet yet. They get married like a few years later, but I guess they must be dating already because they hang out like together with Chet. And this picture must be from later on in life, obviously, but that's what I found. I found Myrtle. And Ralph was the key because I was looking up Myrtle and Chet and Myrtle in the 1900 census thinking they were already married, but they weren't. So they weren't listed together on the census, and there's so many Myrtles, I couldn't find, like, which one. There was no way to know. But then one time Ralph said Myrtle Rush, and then I found her. And then I found that Myrtle Rush, I, like, confirmed it was her because she married Chet. So exciting. Yeah, the picture does look crisp. I think it's like a scan or something. It's from Find a Grave. All right. Market and saw Myrtle a while. Myrtle works at the market because she always goes there to see her. In evening, we went into the carnival. Myrtle, her cousin, Chet, Gert, and Freeze. We never figured out who Freeze was. R and I went in. Oh, that's so cute. The big group of friends at the carnival had a fine time. Earl and Ellen came over in evening a while, but went home early. Went to bed some after 12. Warm. There was one mention of and Ellen, I think, getting married, coming back from being married, and they threw rice at them or something, or confetti. I think she said threw rice at them when they got off the train. She might have said Earl and Ellen, but if not, if it was just Ellen, then Earl would be a clue that we could maybe find them. But she tends to use a lot of just first names. How dare she? Doesn't she know we're trying to figure out who these people are? Okay, skip Ralph. So sad. Okay, got up at 7 o'clock. Helped with work all day. Went downtown. Stayed at house in evening. And the folks went. Rain came up and... How dare she only write the first names of people she's friends with? I know, right? That's exactly. Rain came up and frightened the people very early. Went to bed at 11:30. Very warm. So Ralph went to the carnival with her on July 7th, so he's still around. I wonder why he's not writing. Because it's not like he skipped a day or two. He just stopped writing for a while. Watch him come back. Oh, is it early? Away early. Yes, thank you. It's away early. Scared people away. Thanks. Yeah, maybe I was just going to say, maybe he picks back up in whenever, the end of August, and he's like, oh, I found my diary. That would be really funny. July 7th, your diary birthday. Hold on. Got a tab over. Got a lot of screens here. Happy diary birthday. I love getting to use that button. Woohoo! Okay. People at the carnival down the street all went home, got rained out. Yeah. They got scared away. They were going to melt. Did I already read July 8th? Yes. July 9th. I love this celebration. Got up at 7. Helped with work all day. Ironed a little. Went downtown. Very warm. Helped all PM with work. Went downtown. Helped with evening work. Stayed at home in evening. Rained. Heavy shower. Played flinch. Always playing flinch. R and I. What a weird way to phrase this. Played flinch, comma, R and I did a while. Okay. Went to bed at 10:30. Ralph has nothing to say about flinch, I guess. I didn't bother taking pictures of all the empty days. I took a picture of like the first block of entry days and then of empty days and then the last one. So it goes all the way through August. Oh, that's sad. Oh well. At least he writes later on. He comes back. And we know he's not dead or like severely hurt because she's talking about hanging out with him. He would probably enjoy Monopoly. Yeah, I'm sure he'd enjoy like long, complicated games. They'd be obsessed with Uno. Isn't that funny? I think they would be. How do you get these diaries? They come from all different places. These that we're reading now, there's actually 2 of them, but Ralph just isn't writing at the moment. They were donated to us. There's a set of 6 that all are from either Ralph or Georgia. And we've read through, this is the third and fourth one out of the 6 that we're reading. So those were donated by someone who was following another story that I was doing where we were Still reading diaries from Iowa, but they were a different time period, and those got returned to the descendant, like a great-grandson of the writers. So that was exciting, and the person who donated these diaries read an article about it and then reached out to me and donated them, so it was cool. I know, I like that they stayed together too, but I bet there were more. Just like the Weatherman diaries, I know for sure there were a ton more that got separated because they were sold separately. And I did reach out to the eBay seller and he never got back to me, so I wish I had been able to snag more of them. Rainy all day, off and on. It is cool to hear old lore from Iowa. Helped with work all day. It was really cool though, like not only reading the diaries and getting the lore, but then on top of that, when I finally did connect with Jim, the great-grandson of the diary writers, the Weatherman Diaries, I interviewed him, and my interview, I posted it on YouTube. So, I know, why would they sell it separately? To make more money. Unfortunately. On YouTube, I posted the interview, and he, like, gave so much background knowledge on the family, and, like, we had hunches about things that he confirmed, and it was really cool. Like, we learned the lore of that family. The person on eBay didn't say... Oh, the one who donated these, though, he said someone in his family picked them up at an estate sale or something. And, yeah, definitely check out my YouTube. It's probably buried in there. Yeah, Edna and Nellie was one of those things. We had a hunch, like, just because of how the diary was being written and, like, the way things were being said but not said, we were kind of, like, reading between the lines, and we had a hunch that their daughter, their adult daughter, she was, I think, like, 35 or something, was gay, and she was. Like, we found out later. I never thought we'd get confirmation on that from anyone, because even, like, you know, back then it was so taboo, but that was, like, a big thing in their family that actually... Back then, the other people in the family, like the aunts and uncles, and they were not happy with her choices, her, like, lifestyle. So they called it, you know. They weren't happy with who she was. And her family, though, so Edna, the daughter, there was Edna Sr. and Edna Jr. So Edna's the mother, and then Edna, the daughter. Edna and Todd, the parents, accepted her and, like, let her do what she wanted to do, because that's who she was. And they accepted Nellie, who was her girlfriend, like, for the rest of her life. So that was cool. But unfortunately, in those diaries, Todd did pass away, like, while we were reading it, which was sad. But Edna and Edna lived on together. I forget what I was saying. I was gonna look at something, and, oh, on my YouTube, there's, like, I have playlists. So the Slippy Diaries, I think, is on the top. But it's the Weatherman Diaries. And if you look in this playlist, it'll be somewhere in there. Todd passed away, who is the Weatherman Diaries. These ones that we already read through, like, these are gone. These are sent back to descendants now. Thank you for subscribing. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. The writer of those, who is Todd, and actually his picture is the one that shows up on this before I, like, hover over it. That's Todd. He passed away in 1944, and that was during one of the diaries that we read. So what happened was Todd started writing it, then he suffered from a stroke, which was crazy because we didn't know this. Like, we're reading the diary, and then all of a sudden he stopped writing. And then months later, he started writing again, but it was different handwriting, and it was actually his wife. So he had a stroke, didn't write for months because he was, like, recovering. Then his wife started writing the diary for him, almost as if, like, oh, I'm going to write it for him until he's better, he's good enough to write it back himself, like, to go back to writing it. And he never did. Like, she kept writing for him, and then on the day that he died, it was so sad, or, like, a couple days after, she said, I was hoping Todd would be writing in this diary again, but I guess now I'm gonna have to. It was, like, really... It was heavy. And then she continued writing. And then there's another diary that we read of theirs from 1947, I think it was. And she continued writing. Like, I think, according to Jim, who was the great-grandson who I talked to in that interview, the whole family were diary writers. Like, that was a thing. So I know that Edna Jr. wrote diaries too. We don't have them, but I know she was a diarist. That's what Jim told me. And Edna Sr. probably wrote her own diaries too, but like when Ralph, I'm like reading on my screen, when Todd got sick and she started writing for him, she was probably writing like both her own diary and his, and then they kind of merged together after he passed away. But yeah, it was so sad. It was like really hard to read. And especially because those diaries are some of those that like there really wasn't too much emotion in them, but that those few entries were like really rough. And then I remember she said like, it's so lonely in the house. It was just so sad. And then when he had his stroke and he used to do so much outside, like he was doing so much work outdoors all the time, and then after that obviously he wasn't, and all he would do is maybe some days he was able to walk down to the train tracks, which was like down the street from his house, and his son worked on the train tracks. It was like a movie, that one. Oh my god. And so his son Lloyd was a mailman or mail clerk on the train that would go by, and Todd would try to walk out to the train tracks when Lloyd's train was going by, and he'd wave to him. And it was just like the most touching entries when he would say that, like, I waved to Lloyd. It's just like such a sweet thing. Oh yeah, you think you're glad you missed those readings? They were very sad. But it was so rewarding to get them back to Jim after. Someone from that family who knew these people, you know? And he never met Todd, but he knew Edna Sr. and Edna Jr. very well. He knew a lot. Obviously, his dad was Lloyd was his grandfather, so he knew him. And to see this part of their life that he didn't even know kind of existed. Nice and evening. Went downtown. Went to bed at 11. Ara and I went out to Elizabeth's after supper, but only stayed a short time. And those diaries too that I was just talking about, on my website I have the entire diaries typed out. So if you're really interested in it, I have like everything typed out there, and I haven't gotten rid of it. So no Ralph. And my website is in my link tree, or it's also www.thingslostandfound. Just got your lights back on? Did you lose power? July 11th. Got up at 6:40. And actually, while we're talking about them, I like talking about the older diaries sometimes. I feel like we lose them. People and places. Will it pop up? Oh, I gotta find it. I always title these little Google slides, people and places in whatever diary. I'm gonna find it. Because I have pictures of Edna and stuff. While we're talking about them, we might as well show them. Where are you? Here they are. It's sad when we end a project and then like all this hard work is just done. So I love Edna's curls. This is Edna Jr. Strong, independent woman. Love her. Fixes cars, fixes lawnmowers herself. Mows the lawn when Todd can't anymore. This is Roger. This is actually, this was cool because this is Todd's grandson who shows up very young in the diary. And that is Jim's dad. So Jim's dad actually shows up in the diary as a little boy, which is cool. This is Todd We didn't have a picture of him until the very end, like until we were almost done reading. And then Jim found it for us and sent it in. So that's Todd. He still hasn't found a picture of Edna yet, the wife, but... Transformer blew up. Oh my god. Is it okay? In Florida, there's a big storm. Yeah, you're getting a hurricane, right, Carly? Does that mean it's your birthday now? Is it your birthday? Happy birthday. Your real birthday? Or your diary birthday? I'm glad your power's back on. Fun stuff, yeah. Are you hunkering down? I hope you're not, like, in the path of it. Stay safe. Everything on your street's back to normal. That's good. Power's been coming off and on since last night from the storm. Oh. Where are you? It's Cell Wolf. It's windy outside here, but we're not getting any storms. Real birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Ow, I just got pinched by my pen. Okay, gotta keep going. We're not that far in. Got up at 6:40. Nice day. Helped with work. Happy birthday, Velvet. Oh, hold on. It thinks I'm not doing anything again. Fix that. I always forget to do that. Near Jacksonville, so staying home. Well, stay safe. Fill up the bathtub, right? Helped with work all day. Went downtown, ironed some. Chet and his mother were here in evening. Last day and eve of the carnival. Went downtown in evening. Went to bed at 12. I bet the carnival was loud right outside her house. Well, I'm sorry. I was going to say, what almost gave you a heart attack? I bet it was the sound of that thing going... Yeah, that's TikTok thinking I'm not here or something. Because I have my whole setup like streaming from another thing. It's confusing. It's hard to describe. But basically, this is what you're seeing is just like a picture from another application. So TikTok doesn't think I'm moving at all, I guess. I don't know. Thinks I'm just a bot. Hey, Valentina. Good to see you. On the bus home? Oh, my God. Ralph is not writing at the moment, so we're kind of buzzing through Georgia's entries. But she's writing some pretty long entries. Got up at 6:50. Had breakfast early for carnival people. The carnival people who are staying in her house. So they could eat before they left, as they went at 8 and at 8. Helped with dishes. Sam took his team, and then R and I, Ralph and Albert. See, this gets confusing because this has happened before where I haven't known which... Gosh, Georgia didn't have to call them clowns so politely, the carnival people. Oh, hold on. Team. Ralph, she has a cousin named Ralph. Yes. She has a cousin named Ralph, and her cousin Ralph has a brother named Albert. So there's Ralph and Albert, which you would think, like, now that we know that, every time she mentions Ralph and Albert, she must be talking about her cousins. But no. Sometimes when she says Ralph and Albert, she's talking about Diary Ralph. Because a couple of times he's made an entry that made it clear that he was with Albert. So, but we know that this is cousin Ralph here because she says R and I. So R is her Ralph, herself. Ralph and Albert, cousins, went with him to park to take down tent and took it to Grandpa's. Help with dinner and dishes. I bet that's what she meant by the camping outfit. I bet it was not an outfit like I think of an outfit, like clothes. I bet it was like a setup, like a tent. And then maybe they were doing that because of the Chautauqua or because of the carnival. The two Ralphs just like to confuse us. Yeah. Took a nap. Not two. Took a nap. In PM. After supper, went to Grandpa's. Sorry if you can hear my laundry. A while. I usually don't run the laundry when I'm on live. But I don't know. Ian must have something he wanted to wash. Took a walk and then home. Went to bed at 9:45. Lovely day. She went to bed early that day. This is like the two Ednas all over again. Oh my god, yeah. And it was crazy when we didn't know. When we didn't know that there were two different Ednas, and it was like, wait, this seems like two different people, and then we finally figured it out. It's like, how do we know who's who? And then you have, once Todd was not writing anymore, you have Edna writing about Edna. So if it's Edna writing about Edna, it's Edna Jr. that's being discussed, you know? What's the most interesting thing you've read or the best tea? Oh, good question. I don't know about the best tea. You guys could help me. You have better memories than me, honestly. The 1917 diary that I read through, which is of like a socialite 17, 18-year-old girl in Brooklyn. She was really, if read for all the drama. Yeah, we have a couple of Ralph stories, definitely. The 1917 one, I feel like, has the most teenage 1917 drama, which is cool. Like, all these boys want to date her and marry her, and she's like, well, I'll just, like, string them all along because she likes the attention. And, like, who wouldn't? She had this one time where there's this guy named Wally who really loves her, and she kind of, like, leads him on. She's always, like, for this guy Link. She wants Link, but she doesn't even end up marrying Link. She marries somebody else, but he was, like, her number one, but she still entertains the other boys when Link's not around. And Wally was, like, obsessed with her, and she turned Wally down, and he followed them, like, after she went out with a bunch of other friends. Wally, like, hid in the bushes. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he was, like, throwing a fit. Like, I don't know. That was a good one. I'd have to find the actual entry, but yes, they did. Ralph and Georgia had an argument because Ralph was going to work somewhere and Georgia was supposed to pick him up at a certain time. She didn't show up at that time, according to him. She couldn't find them. That was her side of the story. It was funny that we could hear both sides of the story because we have the two diaries. There were like a bunch of things that have come up that are very interesting, like the train crash. There's been a bunch of train crashes actually, but the one with the circus, they went and saw the circus, and then that circus, like 3 months later, is going to suffer a catastrophic train crash. We read about the sewer banquet. There was another one. So I guess the most like alarming one from Ralph would be, I can open it up actually. It was in his 1901 diary. And it was like one of the first days, I think it was January, like early January. He just talked about this, it wasn't really a train crash, I guess. A man was killed by a train. This guy, actually, we ended up finding his picture. And instead of being normal about it and writing about, because Ralph was working on the train, so he was on that, I don't think he was on the, yeah, he was on the train. So instead of writing about it like this terrible thing happened today, oh my god, I feel so bad, he was very matter-of-fact about it and drew us a diagram of where the body was in relationship to the train tracks. So that was like pretty, we didn't know him yet. We were like, what kind of like guy is this? This is his, is that the one? Yeah, here. This is his entry where he's like, the feet were pointing towards the track. And then he drew the picture. He's drawn us a couple of diagrams. There was one day where poor Ralph, karma caught up to him, I guess. And he was running. He was chased by a bull. This is all in one like sentence he explained to us. Is it in here? Yeah. He was chased by a bull, ran onto a skunk on his way back. He went to order supper. He was chased by a bull. He ran onto a skunk on his way back, and then somehow walked into the wrong room. Yeah, his drawing was wild. When I figured, I want to go back to that live because I read these things like with you guys. I don't pre-read. So the moment the light bulb went off with like what that was, because it's just, I can show you the actual page. How would I find it? I'll open up Ralph's 1903, and I think I have it in here. Oh god, it's all like... Is that actually July, or did I just label it July? Oh, maybe I didn't have them saved in here. Dang it. Look at the difference in his handwriting. This was in 1901. This is Ralph. Why can't he write like that? Yes, he gave us an interesting first impression for sure. June. Yeah, I guess I don't have all the... I must have, like, I don't know what I did with them. Gotten rid of them or something. Or didn't... Maybe I didn't have them uploaded and I had them somewhere else. But that picture that we saw was what he drew, like, next to the entry. Here. Here's Nelson with his wife. And another picture of Nelson. That was crazy. Okay. July 13th. Got up at 6:45. Helped with dishes. Swept some and done lots other small jobs. Never heard the last name Slippy in Iowa. Yeah. I think his family was from Illinois before, but they're from, I don't know if you know Rhinebeck, Iowa. That's where it seems like they settled down, and then that's where he grew up. But yeah, very interesting last name. I had never heard it before either. I'm not from Iowa, but it's just uncommon. Helped with dinner and dishes. It helps, though, because finding information about him has been pretty easy. He makes it easier because he was like the mayor of Waterloo. He was pretty prominent, so there's a lot out there on him, but just having the last name Slippy helps because it's not like Smith. Ralph Smith would be, you'd be overrun with other information, but Ralph Slippy is only the one and only. Took the boys over the river to work and stayed and brought them back. Went to bed at 9:30. Helped with supper, dishes. No Ralph. Wonder what the heck he's doing. I really want him to come back and say, I lost my diary for 2 months. Got up at 6:45. Helped with dishes. Helped with washing. Done some ironing. Helped with dinner. Went to office. Maybe he went to that job search, accepted. Yes, the job he accepted. Speaking of, yeah, he was the mayor of Waterloo. Isn't that cool? We have a picture. I gotta find it. Should be, this is not the right one. This one. He was the city engineer of Waterloo, and he was the mayor. This is him in the Cornell College yearbook, but this is him later on. I believe this picture is of him as mayor doing something with a gavel. This is an article about when he was running, I think, one of the times he ran. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I do need to reach out to some places in Waterloo, because him being the mayor, there might be some more stuff out there, and maybe there's even a picture of Georgia. I've written it down before and I haven't done it, and I'm going to write it again. I think I was waiting to see what we could find on our own, and I just never made that leap. I did email, and I have talked to a couple of historical societies and museums in other towns where she mentioned in the 1895 diary, like LaPorte City, but I haven't reached out to any, like, Waterloo specific. But he was the mayor. Oh, Waterloo is an hour and a half from you? Nice. If they have a town hall, wouldn't they? Yeah, they probably would have something, or even like a historical society. It's hard in the bigger cities to find, like, what historical society covers what. But I should just send out some, like, feeler emails, and maybe they could at least tell me, oh, you want to call this place, you know? I know, me too. After finding a picture of Todd at the very end, I always have hope. I agree. Okay, was I going to do something else? Oh, I wanted to see if he's talking about the Worcester Polytechnic Institute where I live. Like, why would he be applying for a job across the country, though? Surprised. Let's see if there's an Iowa, Worcester. I don't know if in Iowa it's pronounced that way, but. That's how we pronounce it here in Massachusetts. Yeah, WPI is the one in Massachusetts. Yeah. I mean, maybe because he's an engineer, he applied to, like, the best, like, engineering type schools in the country to work at. Or maybe they sought him out because he was so good. I don't know. It's coming up Massachusetts, everything. I can't seem to find anything else. So maybe he almost moved to Massachusetts, which is crazy. Crossing paths with Ralph in a past life after finding one of... Oh, I already read that. Okay. Went to the office, and downtown. Helped with dishes, of course. There are no coincidences, yeah. R and I hitched up after supper and took a ride. Went to bed at 10:15. So I never told you guys about this because I never know, like, if I should get into this because, like, people believe different things and, like, some people might think it's silly. But I went to see a medium, like, a few months ago now. It was, like, last spring. And it was for a totally different reason. Like, I didn't go because of the Diaries, but the Diaries came up. And who knows? I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm a little bit skeptical of it because, obviously, I have an online presence. Not a big one, but if someone was looking up my name, they could, like, reasonably put two and two together and, like, I don't know. Now I kind of have to, like, say it. I didn't bring it up because I didn't know how people would, like, feel about it. But anyways, before we even got into, like, the other reasons why I went there, the woman was like, I see a bunch of people around you, but they're not, like, related to you. And take this with a grain of salt because she, like, I think she seemed like a genuine person, but, like, you know, you never know. People could easily make this up. But, yeah, so she was like, there's a bunch of people and there's something about, she was like, I don't really know what it is, so I'm just gonna say it and maybe it'll make sense to you. And she was like, you know, he's saying that it's sunny and it's rainy, and it's sunny and it's rainy. And I was like, oh, well, I know who you're talking about. So, like, if anything, that's the weatherman. That's Todd. And yeah, it was really cool. I'll have to go back, especially the Patreon people, because you guys know, like, a little bit more about my story, so you know probably, like, why I went to a medium in the first place. But without getting, like, too personal on live, I was not expecting that to come up. And she said, like, that the person who I was there to, like, it's my sister who I was there to, like, hopefully would come through, you know? And she said that my sister was, like, helping me find the people from the diary. Like, she was helping on the other side. Like, my I forget how she phrased it, but it was really cool. So like whether or not that's real or not, it felt really good. And she said like she helped connect us with the relatives, and like there's no coincidences, and every time something just pops up out of nowhere, it's not actually a coincidence. They're all like kind of helping. Her name's Olivia. So yeah, I just thought that was sweet. And yeah, I didn't bring it up because I was like, I don't know if people believe that stuff, but it was really cool. It was a cool experience. Yeah, she's my biggest fan. Yeah, definitely. But I thought that was funny. She was like, I don't know. She was either a really good actor or she really didn't know. She was like, I don't know, like, what's going on. These people don't seem like they're related to you, but there's like a bunch of people and they're all like hanging out saying thank you. Yes, cheers, Olivia. Very nice. All right, we'll read through a few more. Maybe we'll get like, we're about halfway through July, so that's a good chunk actually, because now we're just reading Georgia's. I'll look at my, I took notes in my sketchbook, and I'll share with my Patreon people. I'll go in the Discord and share some more tidbits, because there were some cool things she brought up, and I'm not going to remember them right now, but I bet they're so happy you're remembering them and connecting them to family. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's like why I got into this stuff, I feel like. I've always been into history and like just little tidbits in people's stories that come out through diaries or things that they owned. But I don't know, I think that just like trying to preserve a memory of someone's life, I think that's kind of fed into this obsession a little bit. Did the media? Yeah, she did have my name. So that's why I was trying, you know, part of me wants to just be like, just accept it and don't second guess everything. And then the other part of me is very analytical and is like, no, I'm going to like make sure I'm not being bamboozled, you know? And a lot of it, like, yeah, you could probably figure it out if you looked it up online. So yeah, I don't know. But this woman came highly recommended from someone, I've wanted to go to a medium for a while, but I didn't want to get tricked, and I didn't want to just like waste money on someone who was going to trick me. So I actually decided, I'm like, you know, I'm only going to go see one if someone like recommends one, or I even like said to Liv, I'm like, oh, you know, if you bring someone to me, then sure, I will do it. And then a couple weeks later, someone at work was talking to me about one that they went to that she grew up living near her, and she knew so many things that nobody would know. So she did come highly recommended, and she was a very nice woman. So I hope that the cat is huge and so cute. What, Claude? I didn't see him. Was that Claude in the background? Yes, I know. I hope so too. And for my own sanity, I want to say she is too. I do believe in that stuff. Like, some things have happened to me that are very unexplainable. And I feel like, well, also there was like a lot of things like the diary stuff. I guess if someone was like, he was behind the chair, yeah. He's actually not that big. He's just super fluffy. Oh, he is. He's laying on the ground. You can see his tail. I don't know if he'll show more of his body. Maybe he'll come over. I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, so like the diary stuff, if someone was super determined and a terrible person, they could probably put pieces together and find out, or like craft that story. But there were things, she said some stuff that was like so spot on, it was scary, that I will never be able to explain, because it's not something that, like, sure, the diary, that's online, but there are things that I don't even, like, even the person who recommended me to go see that woman, I've never even told her those details. So there's not even any way, like, and I trust her, she didn't go and tell this person, but like, even if that would be the only way, and she didn't even know these things. And it was like the most specific, detailed, it was like she was saying certain things, because my sister was sick, so she was saying like things from another person that she knew that she felt like they had similarities, and it was literally the same story of my sister, and it was details beyond like they wouldn't, I don't know. It was very scary. It was a medium. Yeah. Yeah, and I believe there's people who can tap into a universal channel. Yes, and that's what I believe too. Like, there are things that have happened or coincidences like that where there's no way in 1,000 years. If someone just guessed that, though, I don't know, it would be crazy. Because it was like a perfect timeline with exact symptoms and how things rolled out, and she was spot on. So that is one thing that I will, no matter how much I doubt everything, it's just like how I am. I can't explain that. The universe is just a bunch of patterns and cycles. Yes. But maybe I should go back and see what she says about the rest of the diaries. Maybe she'll say something that hasn't been shared online. She also mentioned she said there was like a big white house. It's diary day. Yep, Addie and Claude. Claude is laying on the ground. He's doing his roly-polies, his nightly roly-polies. Okay. Hold on. And ironed. After breakfast, went to ironing and ironed all morning. Are you sharing that individual's name? Maybe. I'm in Massachusetts, so if you're in that area, you could message me and I'll send her to you. I don't know if she wants to be shared online, but if you want to message me, I'll definitely share her. Someone was talking about me. Hot lemonade. Hot lemonade. Yeah, and I don't know, like I said, there were times where I'm like, oh, people, I'm just so afraid of being tricked that there are things that she said that if someone were trying to trick me, they could find those details. Or maybe she just did pick up on them. But that one piece, you wouldn't be able to find that anywhere. So, I don't know. If someone's talking about a burning lamp. Hot lemonade. I said that the other day, and I forget why. But I, thought I was saying something else. I don't know what it was. I said hot lemonade, and in my mind, because we've said hot lemonade so much, it was like a real thing. It is a real thing, but it's not something I've ever had. But I don't know why I said it. I forget. That was a dumb story. Boils. I got my boil lanced, and then it came back. Helped with dinner and dishes. Okay, I'm going to finish this entry and probably clock out. Went downtown and to office a while. Read papers. Helped with supper. Yeah, the carnival is in town. After supper, hitched up and went for a drive. After I finish this entry, I'll go back and show the interesting things. Played flinch a while. After we came back from driving. Yeah, I know. I was talking a lot about, I was just talking about a medium I went to see, so I feel like we did do a lot of yapping, but that's okay. I skipped a line now, thanks. Go back. Helped with supper. After supper, hitched up and we went for a drive and went to bed at 10. Played flinch a while. Okay. So, yeah, I guess the most interesting thing was that the carnival came to town. She also talked about Chautauqua. They went to go see a few more shows. And then Ralph also talked about accepting a position at Worcester Polytechnic Institution, which is in Massachusetts. That's where I live. So, I don't know what happens with this position because he does, I think, he works in Chicago. And they moved to Chicago together and then they moved back to Waterloo. So maybe that's where he didn't go there because she talks about him in these entries. He just stops writing mysteriously. I think until August. I think I must have put that there for a reason. Let me look in the diary, because August 22nd must be when he, like, when his dry spell stops. So we have, like, almost 2 months of just Georgia writing. Yeah, he started writing again August 23rd, and he doesn't give us much. He just says clear and hot. But the full entries start up the next, or on August 25th. I can't really even read it. We'll get there, I guess, soon, but no mention of Worcester and what we found online. I know, maybe he accepted the position and then ended up retracting that? Yeah, actually, I'm skimming just from the end of August, beginning of September, and I shouldn't be skimming ahead, but I was just like kind of looking, and I saw Institute. So he's talking about the Armor Institute, which is where he ends up working. He signed a contract, it looks like, on September 2nd. So maybe he did some summer work at this other place and then came, maybe that's why he didn't write. Maybe he left and came back. I have no idea. I wonder if we could look up, because I haven't looked in Massachusetts for his name, that's for sure. Yeah, nothing. I look up Slippy's plush slippers is what shows up. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Well, let's go back to Waterloo then. This is their wedding in December. This must be assisting city engineer. Oh, cool. Assisting city engineer. That's assisting her dad, Georgia's dad. Is this like city jobs that got paid or something? General fund? East Side sewer funds. Yeah, this is like who got paid what. That is cool. RB Slippy, assistant engineer and assistant city engineer. We've seen this guy. Andy Gillickstad. I should save this because I bet a lot of the people he mentions are listed in here. I'm trying to find if he went out anywhere, like if he went for a trip. Did we see this? ML Newton and Ralph Slippy were over from Waterloo last Saturday for the purpose of establishing a street and sidewalk grade in Rhinebeck. We are reliably informed that it will not be long until we have a sidewalk grade, and then look out for cement walls. I bet we didn't find that. Let's see. 1903. What day was that? April 24th. April 24th. Went to Rhinebeck, 7:55. Clifford helped me in setting grades. Quit about 4:30 on account of rain. Yep. That is funny. I'm saving that because I didn't find that article before. That might be something Felicia would love. Oh yeah, his wage, definitely she would. I don't think she's here today. So road trip to the Institute. Yeah, actually we could. Well, I could. Or I could call them, see if they have any records. It doesn't seem like he actually worked there, but I don't know. Where is my search that I was just doing? Maybe we need to do like, oh, that's all in 1903 in Waterloo, but maybe just Black Hawk County. What is this? H. Slippy. Oh, an Oregon man. I don't think that's his relative. We'll just do Iowa. Slipper, not Slippy. Okay. JF Slippy. Slippy. Yeah, that's it for 1903, so I don't know. That's true too, that there's I was just rereading Nikki's comment. We've found like bios about him in his yearbooks for his school and like even later on in life, like even his obituary, and nothing mentions anything about being in Massachusetts. So he probably didn't end up going for some reason. Maybe we'll find out why. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night then. Thanks as always. I'm not going to be on next week. I have a doctor thing. So hopefully the next week I'll be able to. It's kind of like a little, not like a minor surgery. So I won't be able to type that night. But hopefully the next week I'll be good to go. I'll let you guys know, though, if anything changes. I will make an event for 2 weeks from now so that people don't forget. But I'll miss you guys. Yeah, I'll be good. Don't worry. It's nothing serious, just a little snip. All right. So I'll see you guys soon. Stay tuned on the Discord. That's where I'll be announcing, like, or not announcing, but you know, that's where I will be letting you guys know if I'm coming on or not. Yeah, I could do it as just a chat session. I think, though, on Thursday, I don't think I'm going to be up to it, because that's actually the day that I'm having it done. But maybe the next week, if I'm not able to type yet, that's what we can do. We can do just like a hangout. That's fine. Okay, well, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for listening to me talk to myself. All right, good night, everybody.